Subject here is a derivation of the theoretical price of an economy defined by its marginal productivity. We'll get to the basic models of output and profit maximization as defined by Adam Smith. What Smith did here was he used the profit maximization condition to get his optimum from his output maximization implemented. This is certainly one way to go. There are other ways, such as we could model competition, understand also from profit maximization that firms will realize zero profits, which sort of corresponds our idea of competition, the moment they adjust their average productivity to the price. So with the same right as Smith, we could define the price by an economy's average productivity, assuming perfect competition, and define this average productivity by, well, I do not like so much the idea of defining it by this Lagrange multiplier of the output maximization problem, telling us how the production function reacts to a slight variation of our input factor restraint. I do not like this so much against the background that this is a constant, and changing this variable is not on the table of discussion, actually, not in this model. So we might just define this average productivity by the average productivity of our output maximization model. And yeah, it's a bit weird. There are some more complications. Smith wrote below his model the sentence, assumption double point, perfect competition. The issue here, he didn't formulate this on the mathematical level. He actually defined protectionism, or rather a monopolist model. I'm referring here to his setting the number of firms constant, or actually he set this number to 1, the so-called representative firm. There is no representative. It's one firm. It's a monopoly on the mathematical level. We will see that Smith excluded any possibility for competition in this model, by not just setting the number of firms constant, but technological progress as well. And using what economists like to call, and I'm even proud of, marginal quantity adjustment. The only option market participants have in this model is to adjust quantities marginally. What kind of life is that? That's just another term for totalitarianism. And in the end, we'll see that Smith defined a completely asocial society. We find this in the core of his theory, and the assumption of decreasing marginal productivity. And we get access to this assumption the moment we maximize the output of a society for the number of firms as a variable of choice. The result will be an optimality condition, number of firms with infinite. It's no longer real. To refocus on modeling, you cannot derive a price from an input-output model. You need a model of demand and supply for that. Nor can you derive a price from a profit maximization model, unless you define a price setter, such as a monopolist, and even then you'll need again a model of demand and supply. What you can do in this place is to ask, if you saw a price in an economy defined by its marginal productivity, what would that mean for society? The answer to this question is protectionism against any competition whatsoever, a two-class society, totalitarianism, and very, very little wealth. Do not provoke you with the term inefficiency. If there are any driving factors behind wealth, behind welfare of nations, I think it will be technological progress and organization, represented by production technologies and number of firms, or at least the ability to sort of change this number of firms, change the production function, change, not set constant. This thing is so dead right from the start, so dead. I wouldn't expect a price from such a model that sort of reflects, represents competition. I certainly would not. Let me remind economists at this point There are three issues economists have very little to say about. Price, or its emerging respectively, distribution, he especially produces surpluses, competition, how it works, how to implement it. Economic theory is set up in the wrong way, right from the start. You ask the wrong questions. I get back to the sentence, you cannot derive a price from an input-output model. You can derive an optimality condition from this model, but the question, how to implement this in the marketplace, is a different one, and has to be answered in a different model. And actually, the question how to implement this solution in the marketplace, again, is the wrong starting point. We can ask the question, does the price or a competitive economy serve our purpose to implement this solution in our society? Does it serve our purpose best?